The sun rises over Basa Air Base in the Philippines, but today, the usual hum of military activity is different. Construction crews are everywhere, expanding runways and upgrading facilities, thanks to a surprising new source of funding: Taiwan. This isn't just about money. It's a bold move in a tense region. For years, the South China Sea has been a flashpoint, with China claiming almost all of it. The Philippines, on the front lines, now finds itself at the center of a new, informal alliance. Taiwan's investment links its own fate with the Philippines, tying together two of China's biggest territorial disputes. The message to Beijing is clear. The balance of power in the Indo-Pacific is shifting. Taiwan sees the Philippines' northern islands as vital to its own defense. If China invades, these bases could be crucial. By funding upgrades, Taiwan is building a forward defense line, shaping its security environment rather than waiting for help. For the Philippines, the funding accelerates much-needed military modernization and strengthens its partnership with the U.S. But there's a cost. Manila is drawn deeper into the China-Taiwan conflict, risking Beijing's anger. The government must balance its security needs with the risk of provoking China. This move is both a strategic investment and a diplomatic gamble. The region is watching closely, knowing this could redefine alliances and rivalries. The stakes have never been higher for both Manila and Taipei. The world waits to see how China will respond. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, is a 2014 pact between the Philippines and the United States. It doesn't create permanent U.S. bases, but allows rotating troops and U.S.-funded upgrades on Philippine military sites. The goal: boost military cooperation, maritime security, and disaster response. Key EDCA sites, like Basa Air Base, are strategically located, some just across the Luzon Strait from Taiwan. The U.S. can pre-position equipment, making rapid response possible. For the Philippines, EDCA means modernized bases and shared costs. But it's controversial. Critics fear it gives the U.S. too much influence and could drag Manila into a U.S.-China conflict. The Supreme Court upheld EDCA, and President Marcos Jr. has expanded it. Now, with Taiwanese funding, the agreement is more complex and more consequential than ever. EDCA is no longer just about the U.S. and the Philippines. It's a new front in the region's power struggle. Why would Taiwan, under constant threat, fund military sites in the Philippines? Geography: the northern Philippines are less than 200 kilometers from Taiwan, right across the Luzon Strait. If China invades, it must control this waterway. By strengthening Philippine bases, Taiwan creates a buffer zone, complicating China's plans. This is proactive defense, an extension of Taiwan's porcupine strategy to make invasion costly. Better Philippine surveillance means early warning for Taiwan. Diplomatically, it forges a partnership with Manila, building informal alliances where formal ones are impossible. It signals to Beijing that Taiwan won't wait passively, and to Washington that Taiwan is a proactive ally. This move also builds goodwill, showing Taiwan can contribute to regional security. It's a calculated risk, but one that could tip the balance in Taiwan's favor. The partnership is about survival, deterrence, and sending a message: Taiwan is not alone. For both countries, it's a chance to shape the battlefield before conflict erupts. The stakes are high, but so are the potential rewards. In the Indo-Pacific, creative alliances are now a necessity. China sees Taiwan's funding of Philippine bases as a direct provocation. To Beijing, this is a red line, challenging its claims over both Taiwan and the South China Sea. Expect harsh rhetoric and accusations of collusion between Manila and separatist forces. China could retaliate economically: sanctions, trade restrictions, and curbs on tourism. Militarily, Expect more Chinese ships and aggressive maneuvers near Philippine waters. Large-scale military drills in the Taiwan Strait and South China Sea will send a warning. Beijing will frame this as foreign aggression, justifying its own military buildup. The Philippines and Taiwan now face a more assertive, unpredictable China. The risk of confrontation is rising, and the region is on edge. Every move will be watched and tested by Beijing. Taiwan and the Philippines' cooperation is reshaping Indo-Pacific security. The Taiwan Strait and South China Sea disputes are now linked. An incident in one could spark crisis in the other. A new triangle emerges: the US, Philippines, and Taiwan, strengthening deterrence against China. Japan and Australia will likely welcome this, seeing it as part of a broader coalition to balance China. For Southeast Asian nations, though, the stakes are higher. They fear being forced to choose sides. ASEAN unity could fracture as tensions rise. The region is becoming more militarized, alliances more visible, and the risks of miscalculation greater. This new reality forces every country to rethink its strategy. The security landscape is more volatile than ever. The next crisis could come from anywhere and escalate fast. The world is watching Taiwan's move. South Korea, a US ally with deep China ties, will tread carefully, supporting stability but wary of provoking Beijing. European powers like Germany and France quietly back Taiwan's self-help, but won't risk their trade with China. They'll call for restraint, hoping to avoid economic fallout. India, locked in its own rivalry with China, sees this as a positive step, another front to balance Beijing's power. India won't get directly involved, but it welcomes a stronger network of partners. For Brazil and other distant economies, the main worry is global disruption. Any conflict in the Indo-Pacific could upend trade and supply chains, hurting economies worldwide. Most nations want peace, but recognize the stakes are rising. The Philippines-Taiwan partnership is a test for the global order. The world's response will shape the region's future. Everyone has something to lose if tensions boil over. Is Taiwan's funding a step toward war or peace? Critics warn it's a provocation, crossing China's red lines and risking escalation. A single incident, an encounter at sea, a miscalculation, could spiral out of control, dragging in the US. The Philippines could become a primary target in a future conflict. But others argue this move strengthens deterrence. By banding together, Taiwan, the Philippines, and the US show China that aggression will be costly. A stronger Philippines complicates Beijing's plans and raises the stakes for any attack. This is about preventing war, not provoking it. Weakness invites aggression. Unity and strength can keep the peace. The region faces a risky, but necessary, recalibration. The hope that deterrence, not confrontation, will prevail. The risk that the line between the two is thinner than ever. The outcome depends on choices made now. The US walks a diplomatic tightrope. Officially, it keeps its distance from the Taiwan-Philippines funding, sticking to its One China policy. Unofficially, Washington welcomes the move. It fits its strategy of shared deterrence. Upgraded EDCA sites benefit US forces and strengthen the alliance network. But there are risks. The US could be drawn into conflict if China retaliates. Policymakers must support allies without triggering war. The US must send clear signals. Its treaty with the Philippines is ironclad, and it stands by Taiwan's self-defense. Expect more US patrols, intelligence sharing, and diplomatic engagement. America's role, the ultimate backstop, giving smaller allies the confidence to resist pressure. The stakes for Washington and the region have never been higher. What comes next? Several futures are possible. In the best case, China limits its response to rhetoric and a tense but stable balance emerges. More likely, China ramps up gray zone tactics, economic pressure, cyber attacks, and constant maritime harassment. The Philippines and Taiwan face a grinding campaign to test their resolve, the nightmare accidental escalation. A collision or miscalculation could trigger a rapid, uncontrollable crisis. With so many forces in close quarters, the risk of a spark is real. Taiwan's funding of EDCA sites is a bold signal. Democracies won't be passive. It could strengthen deterrence or push the region closer to conflict. The coming months will be decisive. Beijing, Manila, and Washington must choose between confrontation and stability. The world is watching, and the consequences will be global. The Indo-Pacific's future hangs in the balance. Every decision now matters.